If you clicked on this video, there's probably a good chance that you're thinking about moving to the Seattle area, and specifically you're looking into the Seattle suburbs. There's a lot going on around here and a lot of different suburbs just outside of Seattle in what we consider Seattle metropolitan, which is made up of 3 different counties. Now, you've probably heard from me on my other videos or from other people that Seattle proper isn't necessarily representative of the entire Seattle metropolitan area, of all of the Seattle suburbs. So in this video, I'm going to go over some of the best and some of the worst things about living in the Seattle suburbs. So if you're planning to move over here from out of state, this is going to give you a good general idea of some things to expect and some things to think about before you make that move. All right, let's start off with the good category. I've got 4 good things, 4 negative things. Now, of course, there's a lot more to this area than just these 8 items, but these are 8 things that people often consider, people often ask me about. And if you want more breakdowns of pros and cons of certain areas, check out my channel for my other videos. But let's jump into these 8 things I've got here, starting off with number 1, a positive. That is that political affiliations really vary around here. Now, you've heard that Seattle is very liberal. Very true. Seattle proper is a very liberal demographic and area as a whole. Now, as you get into the suburbs, you're going to have a lot of variation on which way those specific cities might lean. You've got the very liberal like Seattle. You've also got some areas that are going to lean much more conservative and be much more conservative with its average demographic. And then you're going to have everything in between. So if you're more of a moderate, there's a lot of options for you around here. Most cities are going to have a good blend of both. Maybe it's a 50-50 split. Maybe it's a 60-40, a 70-30, an 80-20 in either direction. So just keep that in mind. If political affiliation is something that's really important to you and you want to be somewhere that's a vast majority same affiliation as you, you'll likely be able to find that. If you want something that's just more moderate and is more a blend of 50-50 split, you'll be able to find that too. And just taking advantage of living in such a wonderful and beautiful place. All right, worst thing number 1 is really the lack of master plan communities here in the Seattle suburbs. Now, you've probably heard the term master plan communities. They're very popular all over the US. And when we talk about a master plan community, we're really talking about a newer construction community that has a lot of homes in one area kind of packed together, but also has a lot of amenities to go with it directly within that community. So whether that's restaurants or schools right within the community, or just a lot of parks and recreation opportunities and community events and all sorts of things happening directly within that one little neighborhood, a total master plan community. Now, there are a couple around here. There's the 10 Trails community. There's the Tahali community. I have done a video on master plan communities in the Seattle suburbs. There are a few of them, but there's not a lot of them. If you're coming over here and you're looking for brand new construction and you want to be in one of these newer communities that offer a lot of amenities and such directly within that community, your options are going to be more limited. Now, there is a lot of new construction all over the place in the Seattle suburbs, but I'm distinguishing that fact between being a true master plan community and being just a new construction community. A regular new construction community is going to have a lot of homes in it, could have 10 homes, could have 250 homes. May have a couple of parks, but outside of a couple of parks and a few little things, it's not going to have a ton of amenities in that specific community. So that's kind of what differentiates the master plan community from just the typical new construction community. So if you're looking for a new home, you'll have plenty of options, but the master plan communities, there's really only a few around here that are still building new homes. All right, now a positive thing, number 2, is you have a lot of options when it comes to the style of living that you're looking for. And when I say that, I mean whether you want urban, suburban, or rural. Now, you know about downtown Seattle, but this video is more about the Seattle suburbs. You can still live in a very urban location without being in Seattle proper. There are a few cities around here that are very walkable, have very nice downtown areas with a lot of restaurants and things to do, and condo complexes, high-rise buildings where you can live a very urban lifestyle. Those are cities like Bellevue, Kirkland, and Redmond. Those are some of the main cities that are right there just east of Seattle on the other side of Lake Washington. There are going to be some other there's scattered smaller downtown areas around the entire Seattle metro area that could have some good walkability factors to them. But the point being, you don't have to be in Seattle proper to have an urban lifestyle. In terms of suburban lifestyles, well, that's the whole metropolitan area. There's so many different suburbs around here where you can live in a typical suburban neighborhood with shopping close by, not super walkable when it comes to walking from your house to amenities necessarily, but being able to walk around your neighborhood, take your dog for a walk, and just a short 5 to 10 to 15-minute drive to all of your shopping, restaurants, and amenities that you need. And then you have rural living options as well. So that's a huge bonus to this area. You can go just a little bit further out and you can find a lot of areas, a lot of cities that are going to have homes that are on an acre or 5 acres or 20 acres or more that are going to feel a bit more tucked out. You can have a very forested, wooded feel with your neighborhood. We've got these huge, beautiful evergreen trees surrounding your entire neighborhood, and it feels like you're really private and cut off, but you're still relatively close to everything in town. Or you can live somewhere that's more like farmland, that's more flat and open and feels much more rural. And you can see the beautiful Cascade Mountain Range in the distance and all the great sights and sounds around here in the Pacific Northwest, again, on large acreage properties. So there's a wide mix of everything around here from urban, suburban, to rural living options. All right, negative number 2 is the airport situation. Now, this depends exactly where in Seattle Metro you live. Currently, our big international and domestic airport is called SeaTac Airport. It's south of Seattle in a city called SeaTac. Now, this is great if you live down there on the south side. It's not too difficult to get to. Now, like any large airport in a major metro area, it's busy. Security wait lines can be a pain in the rear. It's not super fun to get in and out of. People can miss their flights because they can't find parking. So when I go, I either catch a ride with somebody or I park off-site with the shuttle service. So there's some options to go around that. But kind of the bigger issue, though, is if you live on the north side. Maybe you live north of Seattle and you often fly. Now, if you're going on vacation a couple of times a year, not a big deal. I live north of Seattle. I've driven down to the airport a number of times. You just kind of got to plan around it. Understand that you might have to go during rush hour, and it could take you an hour to an hour and a half to get to the airport. So that's just something to consider if you're living further north of Seattle, that it's going to be a bit more of a trek just to get to the airport. Now, on the north side of Seattle, in a city called Everett, we have another airport. Now, this is a much smaller airport. It's called Payne Field. There are domestic flights that goes to 10 destinations right now. Some of those include San Diego, San Francisco, Tucson, Phoenix, Anchorage, Alaska, Honolulu. Where else? We got Vegas, Orange County, Los Angeles. Those are the main destinations where this airport will go to. So I've gone to this airport a couple of times when I've gone to Vegas. It is so much easier. It is a breeze to get in and out of there, but it only goes to 10 different destinations right now. So just keep that in mind. That airport, our main international and domestic airport, is on the south side of Seattle and can cause a bit of an issue if you're going during rush hour and you just have to plan ahead of how long it's going to take you to get to and from. All right, positive number 3 is the unique real estate in this area. Now, some places that you go to, and I've been told this a lot by people that have moved over here from states like Texas and whatnot, where they feel like the real estate is very cookie cutter. It lacks character and uniqueness, and most of the neighborhoods, all the homes look pretty much the same. Because Seattle is such an older area and some of these suburbs were established a very long time ago as well, you have a wide range of different types of real estate, homes being built in the early 1900s up to new construction. You have styles like Cape Cods, contemporaries, moderns, traditionals, craftsmans, colonials, and everything in between. You have all sorts of different types of neighborhoods. And I get this question a lot from people that are coming over here that really want a home that's not cookie cutter. They don't want their home to look like everybody else's in the neighborhood. And that is true around here. Now, you can find a bit more of a suburban neighborhood where you can kind of see all the homes, all the lot sizes are smaller, but you do have some variation in those architecture styles. That's certainly a thing. And there's a lot of neighborhoods where you have bigger lot sizes. Homes are further spread out, and you have a huge variation. You could have a brand new construction house built next to a 1915 craftsman style home. So you've got a wide range of different types of real estate and unique properties in the greater Seattle area. All right, negative number 3 is commuting. You've heard this before. There's a lot of traffic in this area because of how many people live over here. So this is just a thing that you really need to think about. Let's just say you are taking a job in Seattle, but you're looking to live in one of the suburbs. Same can be said if you're taking a job in Bellevue and you're looking to live in one of the other suburbs outside of Bellevue. You need to consider those commute times. Don't just look at the mileage. Don't say, hey, this city is 10 miles from my work. That's doable. That's fine to me. I'll be there in 10 minutes. You won't be there in 10 minutes with the traffic times around here. So just keep that in mind when you're moving over here. You're looking for a place to live. Really factor in those actual commute times. Apple Maps has a great feature where you can plug in a commute time for a later date. So you can say, hey, on Wednesday at 8 a.m., what would my commute look like from this city to my job that I'm taking? And it can give you a pretty accurate estimation of what that commute is going to look like, because a 15-mile commute could be 40 minutes. It just depends what time of day you're going and what city specifically you're going in and out of. So just keep that in mind. Those commute times can be tough. Public transportation, there's some options. When you're in the suburbs, there's much fewer options. We have our train system, which is the light rail system. It currently goes as far north as Northgate, which is just north of Seattle, and it goes down to the airport. This is a decent option for people that are living within that specific corridor where they can jump on the light rail and get to it pretty easily. It is expanding up north further to Mount Lake Terrace and Linwood. It's also expanding over east to Redmond and Bellevue, so this will provide some additional options for those commuting into Seattle or into Bellevue for work. But just keep that in mind. Really pay attention to those commute times. All right, and positive number 4, we've heard this before. I've talked about this on a lot of my videos. It's just the recreation around here. Outside of any of the Seattle suburbs, no matter where you are in the Seattle metropolitan area, you will have quicker access to get to any kind of outdoor recreation you're looking for. So if you want to go up to the mountains and you want to go skiing and snowboarding, there's multiple different locations that you can do that. You can go to Snoqualmie Pass, you can go to Stevens Pass, you can go to the Olympic Mountain Ranges. There's a lot of different places you can go. If you just want to go on some trails and go for some hikes or go mountain biking, no matter where in this greater Seattle area you are, you're going to have a lot of options. Even if you live in one of the suburbs that are set a little bit further west, where it's not as much of a rural setting, you're still going to have places where you're going to have a lot of trails that you can take advantage of. And if you want some more fitness level hikes, you go a little bit further east in the metro area. You can drive 20, 30, 10 minutes from your house and have a lot of different hiking options. As well as that, you have the Puget Sound here, so beautiful beaches and views all over the place. You can take ferries to little day or weekend destinations. You can take a kayak or a paddleboard out. And we have a ton of lakes as well. So if you want to go swimming, take the kids out. You want to go paddleboarding, take out the ski boat and go wakeboarding or water skiing. There are so many opportunities around here if you're in the Seattle suburbs, and you don't have to drive a far ways to get to any of this stuff. No matter where you are, you're going to have a lot of options close by. All right, and the last item here, negative number 4, is the lack of great restaurants in some of the Seattle suburbs. Now, this is not consistent for all of the Seattle suburbs. Some of the more walkable ones that I talked about, where you have more urban locations, will also have great restaurants. Places like Bellevue and Kirkland and Redmond, those are going to have some really great options for restaurants. Some other cities like Linwood and Edmonds can have some good options as well. As you get further north and further south, further outside of kind of that main corridor where Seattle and Bellevue are, some of the cities around there will start to have fewer and fewer options for great restaurants. So my wife and I, we find ourselves, there's some good family spots if you're taking the kids, something like that. Or just doing a quick night out. If you want a true date night, my wife and I find ourselves going to one of those cities, going to a Bellevue or a Kirkland or a Seattle, and going to one of the great fine dining establishments, because most of those places are going to be in that main corridor. So as you get further to the outskirts, just keep that in mind. The restaurants will get slimmer and slimmer when it comes to the amount of options. All right, well, this wraps up my list. Hopefully this was helpful for you. If you're moving over here, some things to consider about living in this area. As always, I'm an active real estate agent in the greater Seattle area. So if you're moving over here or you already live here and you're looking to buy a home, feel free to reach out to me. I'd be more than happy to help you. Thanks for watching.